To those of you that are returning from the last video, thank you so much for coming back. And to those of you that are just joining us, Weiss is a game about reactions, not actions, and we will be learning more about the game using the Sword Art Online trial deck. So, without wasting too much time, let's just get right into it. So, if you were with us last video, then you'll remember at the end I said the game of Weiss starts before a single card hits the field. And that is 100% true. So, this video, we're going to talk a little bit about what I meant. The game of Weiss has one of my favorite mulliganing systems of all time ever. Believe me, I've played a lot of card games, and to me, this is the mulliganing system that makes the most sense. So, if you don't know this already, which you really should know this already, but when you get your opening hand of 5 cards, you can choose any number of them and discard them to the waiting room to draw that many cards from the top of your deck. This means that you can control how consistent your opening hand is and how well the first turns of your play are going to go. As you can probably imagine, there are a lot of really useful ways to use this mechanic to make sure that your duel goes as smoothly as possible. And we're going to go over a few of the strategies you can use to decide which cards to keep and which cards to toss. In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 that I mainly love to use. However, after you watch this and after you try these out a few times, feel free to make any changes you like. Not every duelist plays a game the exact same way or has the same mindset. That's what makes card games so fun. So pick one of these that you really like, try it out a few times, and then maybe make a few adjustments based on your deck style or even your play style. So the first one, and the one that I highly recommend if you are still a beginner, is zero hoarding. Now, zero hoarding refers to keeping every card in your hand that's a level 0 and tossing everything else. This surprisingly has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. The main advantage is the obvious one. You have full control of your options during the first few turns of the game. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why is that so important? Why would I give up all of my really good mid to late game cards just to make sure I have an early game advantage? Well, I'm going to go over this a bit more detailed in the next episodes, but the more zeros you have, potentially the more stock you have, and stock is extremely important late game. So if you make sure that your hand has a lot of turn 0 options, then in turn you'll keep field control. And in keeping field control, you keep stock control. If you're getting lots of stock and your opponent is not getting as much stock as you, that is an obvious advantage. This also means that you are better equipped to continually destroy your opponent's characters. Now, why is this one so important? Well, let's go back to what we were talking about before. More stock means better plays, and every time you destroy a character, your opponent has to figure out a way to fill that hole if they want to keep their stock up with yours. That's why level 0 is such an important level, because you're setting yourself up not only for level 1, but for pretty much the rest of the game. The main con is the obvious one too. Because you're throwing away every card that isn't a level 0, you are leaving your level 1s and 2s up to chance, which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, you do get to draw a lot of cards each turn, but you are still risking not having anything good to play during levels 1 and 2. The next strategy I recommend if you're a little too advanced to just be throwing away every card that isn't a level 0, and it is called the perfect hand strategy. In my opinion, the best possible opening hand you can get is 1 climax, 1 offensive level 1, 2 offensive level 0s, and 1 assist level 0. And the idea behind the perfect hand strategy is discarding every card that does not meet that criteria. The main advantage to this kind of hand is that you are very decent on level 0 and level 1. So if your opponent happens to overpower you and push you past level 0 to level 1 unexpectedly, you're not left in the dark. You've still got something that you can play and something that you can come back with. There are a lot fewer advantages you get playing this kind of hand, but there are also a lot fewer disadvantages you get playing this hand. To recap, zero hoarding leads to more guaranteed stock, wasting your opponent's cards, destroying characters, which means your opponent has less stock, and it's an easy, powerful strategy for beginners to follow. However, it is weaker mid to late game, you lose some potential combos, you waste some of your climax cards, and it really isn't as viable for higher level play. Perfect hand holding normally has more options, so it's more stable at level 1, and you have a safety blanket just in case your opponent levels you up faster than you expect them to. However, its level 0 is more left to chance because since you're keeping a level 1 and a climax in your hand, if you ditch the other 3 cards, that's only a 60% chance to get yourself a level 0. And it also has no combo structure. I'll go into combos a little later, but for right now, just focus on these aspects to decide which one you want to try out in your next game. There is one more structure that I recommend following once you consider yourself an advanced player called combo holding. However, I'm actually not going to talk about that one today. Combo holding requires almost intense mastery of your favorite deck type because you have to understand when to break the rules. You see, not every deck is powerful at the exact same time. There are some decks that actually don't really care about level 0 or 1. It's mainly about building up for level 2. But there are a lot of decks out there that don't follow that at all either. It's kind of complicated, so I'll get into that a little later. For right now, try to follow the other two strategies because I promise they will help improve your gameplay a lot more than trying to get into something like this right off the bat. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you have some cards, go ahead and practice drawing some hands and seeing what you would get rid of in a real duel. Try to figure out what you would get rid of in both situations if you were going to hoard zeros or if you were going for a perfect hand. Just discard one of one type and see what you would have drawn, and then maybe try with the other type and see if maybe you would have drawn something different, maybe something a little more viable. 'Cause you never know. Just remember, kids, knowing is half the battle. The other half is violence.